Okay, we're going to do example 4 of factoring trig expressions. You're going to find this one to be extremely easy, even though, again, sometimes it looks complicated. It's not. We have factor 6 tangent squared of theta minus 17 tan theta plus 12. This is where the variable substitution, I think, really comes into handy. And again, if you haven't watched examples 1 through 3, do that before you go to example 4. So it says, as we've said before, our first step is to replace the trig function with some dummy variable. So I'm just going to make tangent of theta equal to x, okay? That's the reason why it's so helpful here is because now all these tangents return to x and it just becomes 6x squared minus 17x plus 12. So for step 2, when we replace it with what its variable is, you can clearly see now this is just a trinomial. We can factor trinomials using the x method. That leads us to step 3, which is to factor as completely using any method. In this case, we're going to use the x method. We're going to set a equal to 6, b equal to negative 17, c equal to 12. If you have not, or if you have forgotten the lesson on factoring using the x method or factoring trinomials, go back and watch that video. It's part of the Algebra 2 class. You're going to put a times c on top. 6 times 12 is 72. B on bottom, negative 17. Two numbers that multiply to give you the top, 72, and add to give you the bottom, negative 17. We're going to put negative 9 and negative 8 on the right, since negative 9 times negative 8 is 72, and negative 9 plus negative 8 is negative 17. We are now going to factor our expression using these sides of the x's. So first we're going to break that negative 17x down into negative 9x and negative 8x based on these two numbers that we figured out in our x method. We're going to pull a GCF out of 6x squared minus 9x, which is going to be 3x. We're going to pull a GCF out of negative 8x and positive 12, which is going to be negative 4. This leaves us with the same thing in the parentheses, 2x minus 3, which is why the x method works. Now we can essentially make 3x minus 4 one of our factors, which is the two terms outside of the parentheses. The parentheses that match become our other factor. Now we factor this expression down into 3x minus 4, 2x minus 3. The last step is to, and I believe this is step 4, is to replace the variable with what its trig function was. So since x was equal to tangent, our final answer is 3 tangent of theta minus 4 times 2 tangent of theta minus 3. This is the factored form of 6 tangent squared theta minus 17 tan theta plus 12. Those are the 4 simple steps for this example of factoring trig expressions. If you have any other questions about this, let me know.